back to our channel. So today's video is going to be a Q&A about Down syndrome. A couple of weeks ago I asked you guys to leave us questions, and I also asked you on Instagram to leave us questions related to Down syndrome and adoption of a child with Down syndrome. As many of you might know, this month, October, is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. So what we've decided to do is create a series of videos here on our channel that are going to be dedicated to Down syndrome. We just really wanted to share with you guys kind of the reality of having a child with Down syndrome, the ups and downs, what it's like, just kind of sharing what everyday life is like of raising a child with Down syndrome. We are hoping through this next series of about 4 videos we have coming for you guys that we will help you to see that Rosie and children with Down syndrome are more alike than they are different, and just how lucky we feel to be Rosie's parents. All right, you guys, so this is going to be the first video in the series. Be on the lookout for the next 3 videos coming over the course of the next week or so. Once those other videos are up, I will link them in the cards here so they're all in one place easy for you guys to find. All right, so let's jump into the Q&A.
Before you adopted Rosie, did you have much experience with a child with Down syndrome or know what to expect?
Honestly, no. I did not have a lot of experience with individuals with Down syndrome, but it wasn't something that ever scared me either. Are there any words that Rosie still says in Mandarin, or does she speak English entirely now?
The primary one that I get is Bob, which is her shortened version of Baba, which means dad in Mandarin. It's the cutest thing. I don't correct it when she says it. I just respond to it now, and I'm hoping that's something that carries on because it's just adorable. I'm wondering if a child with Down syndrome will stay in the household or if there's any possibility of them living on their own.
There's absolutely possibility of them living on their own. Absolutely. There's some really amazing documentaries on Netflix. If you guys have ever seen the show Born This Way, it's definitely worth educating yourself. But there are absolutely individuals with Down syndrome who move out, get married, and live on their own or live with their partner. It's absolutely possible. What is the biggest challenge and the best blessing about raising a child with Down syndrome?
I'd say the biggest challenge is especially in our family, is comparing children, right? We have a large family. I'm guilty of this with Jonah as well, or even Shelby, because they tend to get lumped in with either their older brother or their older sister, and they're years apart. So I do the same thing with Rosie. I think that's one of the bigger challenges is, accounting for each one of their individual personalities, their individual strengths, their individual weaknesses, and making sure that we're giving not only Rosie, but every child, an opportunity to succeed. The biggest blessing with Rosie has been just its constant ray of sunshine. And sure, there's hard times, but there's days where, let's say a Monday morning, I wake up and I'm grouchy because I need to go to work. Rosie bebops out of her room, ready to go to school, and she's happy. She's just constantly happy, and that's infectious. Now, there is a caveat to where Rosie certainly experiences, emotions. She does get sad. She gets irritated. So she's not constantly pumping sunshine all the time. But by and large, she's certainly, she's a joy to be around. Do your other kids notice that Rosie is different?
They do. They do. They notice that she looks a little different. And again, these are things that we talked about before she came home. We spent a lot of time explaining to them what it meant to have Down syndrome. We just try really hard to focus more on the things that Rosie can do instead of the things that either she can't do or maybe she's not doing at the same level as her peers. Do you parent Rosie differently than you do your other kids?
That's a good question. A little bit. You kind of have to, in all honesty. There's certain things that, fine motor skills in some cases where she might need a little bit of assistance. Those are things that I might not have to do with my other kids, but those are things we might not have to do with our other kids. But at the end of the day, we mildly adjust expectations, right? Making sure that, again, we're realistic with her abilities, and at the same time making sure we've set her up to succeed. I'd love to see a day in the life of Rosie. Is that something that you guys think you might do?
Absolutely. That's actually going to be the next video in our series. Is going to be a video for you guys showing you what a day in her life is like. And we really hope that will help shed some light on all of the things that she can do, and again, how much more alike she is than she is different.
Does Rosie enjoy being at school?
Has she made any new friends?
She loves school. She absolutely loves school. She's excited to go. She's tired when we pick her up in the afternoons. It is a long day for her and she gets really tired, but she loves it. As far as friends go, I know that she plays with other kids in class. Her language isn't at a place where she can come home and say, I have a friend and her name is Sally. She can't do that yet, but we usually check in with her brother because he's in the same class as her. So we'll ask him, hey, what did Rosie do today? And he'll kind of talk to us about that. And she also gets a sheet sent home every day that has written down what she did that day. So we get a picture, an idea of her day, even when she can't fill in the gaps for us. I still find it difficult sometimes to understand what Rosie says in the vlogs. Does she have any trouble regarding communication at school?
A little bit. There's certainly kind of a language barrier. At the same time, I think over the last year and a half that she's been home with us, we speak Rosie now, so we've learned to kind of interpret it and understand what she's saying. Over time, that'll come, but additionally, she's going to get better with her language skills. She's going to go through, some therapy sessions and language sessions that assist her in being able to communicate more. Rosie understands a whole heck of a lot more of what we say and what we ask of her than what we understand from her, if that makes sense. She does have a little bit of a difficulty articulating it, but at the same time, we're at a place where if she's hungry, she can tell us. She has to go to the bathroom, she can tell us. I mean, her basic needs are met. We're still working on some of those, descriptors, the lengthy sentences, things like that.
Do children with Down syndrome have any physical difficulties in general? Does Rosie have any mobility problems?
They can, yes. Children with Down syndrome are typically delayed in their gross motor skills. So it usually takes them a little longer to sit, to walk, to run, to do all those things. And again, I think it's really important to remember that children with Down syndrome, it's a spectrum in the sense that not every kid is going to be the same. Not every kid is going to struggle with the same things or excel at the same things. So again, that's on a pretty individual basis based on the child. Is disciplining a child with Down syndrome different?
It is. Yeah, I think, again, you kind of bring in that aspect that expectations have to be different as well. Rosie is very attached to certain things, food, certain toys, and a part of that is because of adoption, a part of that is because of Down syndrome, and, we're going to discipline in accordance with, what the expectations are for her.
My only question is, how is it possible for one child to be so stinking adorable?
Yeah, I mean, Rosie's kind of like the cutest kid on the planet. I mean, from the very first picture we saw of her, and I will insert that here. This was the first photo I saw of her. I just wanted to scoop her up and squeeze her, and she's still like that. She's still just lovable and squeezable, and just, yeah, she's kind of like the cutest kid. How does Rosie react to meeting new people?
Rosie knows no stranger, and that is both a good thing and a bad thing. For apparent reasons, obviously we don't want her just getting friendly with everybody she meets, but at the same time, she's a celebrity at her school. Everybody knows Rosie, and that can also, that makes you feel good as a parent as well.
What would you tell expectant parents who are struggling with the news that their child will have Down syndrome?
That's a heavy question, because I think that the reality is it would be easy for me to say, it's okay, don't be afraid, it's going to be fine. But I know that there are so many fears that come with the unknown. And we've walked that road with my last pregnancy. There were some unknowns about one of our twins. And so I know what that feels like. But all I can tell you is that it's going to be okay. You're going to love them so much more than you ever imagined that you could. And they're not going to be their disability. She is Rosie. She is not Down syndrome. And your baby is going to be whoever they are and not Down syndrome.
It's good questions.
Those were great questions, you guys. I wish that we had time to answer all of them. There are so many great questions on Instagram and YouTube, and we may be able to do more of these videos in the future if you guys like this and you want to hear more. And again, we can really only speak to our experience and Rosie.
That's right.
I definitely do not want a blanket statement. Every person with Down syndrome But I just think the overarching message here and what we really want to get across is that we just want to break down some of those stigmas and bust some of those myths and help people to see that Down syndrome isn't scary. And to be totally honest, we consider having a child with Down syndrome one of our greatest blessings. It's not something that we see as a difficulty or a struggle or anything like that. I mean, there's hard days for sure, but there's hard days with your typical kids too. So
we got a 3-year-old right now. Or I
he
should
just
say
turned
4.
4.
Yeah, he's 4
He
now.
turned 4.
There's no more
I mean,
to it.
all of our kids have had their times of being difficult. So Rosie's no different. She's not perfect. We just wanted everybody to know that Rosie is a blessing to us and that she is more alike than different. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you will stick around. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel.
And share it. This is, I think, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry,
okay.
but share this. I think this is a good, the point of this series that we're doing is to
educate
and spread awareness. And I think Rosie's story will do that.
So give us a like, subscribe if you want to see. Like I said, this is the first in a 4-part series of videos coming to you guys this month about Down syndrome. And next month we are going to have another series about adoption. So subscribe, stick around. We have lots of great content coming for you guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today and for loving our family and being such amazing subscribers. We love you guys.
See you later, tweets.
Bye.